If you begin reading in Judges chapter 1, verse 1, and you make it to chapter 4, you're bound to be a little bit surprised. You're bound to be all the more surprised if you appreciate the male-dominated nature of the culture in which the book of Judges was written. That surprise, of course, is that the judge, Deborah, is a woman. Hi, my name is Aaron Johnson here with the Middle Park Church of Christ in Granby, Colorado. In this video, we are going to draw out some application points about this surprising inclusion of a female judge, Deborah. So if you're not familiar with the story, let's begin reading in Judges chapter 4, and we'll start around verse 3. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help, for Sisera had 900 chariots of iron, and he oppressed the people of Israel cruelly for 20 years. Now, Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lipoedeth, was judging Israel at that time. And she used to sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the people of Israel came up to her for judgment. She sent and summoned Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh Naphtali, and said to him, "Has not the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you, go, gather your men at Mount Tabor, taking 10,000 from the people of Naphtali and the people of Zebulun, and I will draw out Sisera, the general of Jabin's army, to meet you by the river Kishon with his chariots and his troops, and I will give you into your hand." Barak said to her, "If you will go with me, I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go." And she said, "I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the road on which you are going will not lead to your glory, for the Lord will sell Sisera into the hand of a woman." Then Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Continuing now with chapter 4, verse 16. And Barak pursued the chariots and the army of Hasheroth-Hagoyim, and all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not a man was left. But Sisera fled away on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin and the king of Hazor and the house of Heber the Kenite. And Jael came out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my lord. Turn aside to me. Do not be afraid." So he turned aside to her into the tent, and she covered him with a rug. And he said to her, "Please, give me a little water to drink, for I'm thirsty." So she opened a skin of milk and gave him a drink and covered him. And he said to her, "Stand at the opening of the tent, and if any man comes and asks you, 'Is anyone here?' say, 'No.'" But Jael, the wife of Heber, took a tent peg and took a hammer in her hand. Then she went softly to him and drove the peg into his temple until it went into the ground, while he was lying fast asleep from weariness. So he died. And behold, as Barak was pursuing Sisera, Jael went out to meet him and said to him, "Come, and I will show you the man whom you are seeking." So he went into her tent, and there lay Sisera dead, with the tent peg in his temple. And then, finally, let's read Deborah's recounting of Jael's activity in Deborah's song in chapter 5, starting in verse 24. "Most blessed of women be Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, of tent-dwelling women most blessed. He asked for water, and she gave him milk. She brought him curds in a noble's bowl. She set her hand to the tent peg, and her right hand to the workman's mallet. She struck Sisera. She crushed his head. She shattered and pierced his temple. Between her feet he sank, he fell, he lay still. Between her feet he sank, he fell. Where he sank, there he fell, dead." So you can see in this narrative just how prominently women are featured. You have Deborah, who among all of the judges is one of the best. She has no recorded deficiencies in character. She is perhaps the most upstanding judge in the book. She's the only judge that has a song recorded that she sings, like Miriam after they cross the Red Sea. And then Jael is described as taking initiative, being blessed in the song, having the honor as opposed to Barak. All things considered, women in this text are just awesome. And if I may just make the very simple point, but sometimes either not appreciated or overlooked completely, is this: God has made women in his image, and he is pleased to work powerfully through them. And it's not just Deborah. It's not like Deborah stands alone or that Jael stands alone. When you get into the New Testament, especially, you have Anna, the prophetess, there in Luke, who takes the young baby Jesus and prophesies over him. You then have Mary, the mother of Jesus, of course. She is a woman among women. And then you have many of Jesus' women followers that are integral to his ministry, that look after him. They are the ones that stay and witness the crucifixion, the burial. They are the ones who discover the empty tomb. They are the ones who receive the first appearance of the risen Jesus. And then as the church begins to expand and explode, you have such women as, or the couple, Priscilla and Aquila, right? That was a dynamic duo. And there, Priscilla is listed first, indicating that she had more prominence than her husband. You have Phoebe, who is one of the prominent women there mentioned in Romans chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. So women played an integral part, not only in Jesus' ministry, but also in the life of the early church and throughout the church as history has gone on. Women are awesome. Now, it is true that God has determined that men and women will play different roles, both within the family context and within the church context. Nevertheless, different roles is no indication of different values. The different roles are more akin to a left hand and a right hand. Depending on whether you are right or left hand dominant, your hands will have different roles. I'm right-handed, and so the role of my right hand is to write, and then my left hand takes care of other things. But just the other day, I had an injury on my finger. I cut myself, and I did not realize just how often I use my left hand. It is absolutely essential. Different roles? Absolutely. Equally important? Absolutely. No different in value, simply different roles. One more thought on this topic, and that is, there has not been a church that I have ever been a member at that has not had women serving in essential roles. I have been in churches in Canada, in Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Colorado. Every single church has always had women performing absolutely essential roles. Women are made in God's image, and He is pleased to work powerfully through them.